So again, Chuck, thank you for being with us today. I really appreciate you coming on.
Always a pleasure.
Well, let's talk about obstacles on something else really quick here. It's been seemingly a push by our state legislature to be able to identify the firearms community for a while now. We had that breach of information through our Attorney General's website with all the data that he was trying to bring. Do we have anything moving that's new on that?
Well, yes. First of all, folks should be sure to check back on the and watch your CCW, excuse me, your CRPA bulletins about CCW. CCW has a page, an information resources page on its website that has all the stuff collected there. There are a couple of things that I've been getting questions about because people want to know their options. And one of your options is to join the class action that was filed by a firm in Sacramento, which frankly, I don't have a lot of hope for. When you file a class action, you have to have a number of different requirements, one of which is commonality, numerosity, commonality, some other things. You have to have all the class members have to have basically the same claims. And the problem with this data breach, data leak, is that everyone's damages are going to be somewhat different because typically with a privacy leak, what you're worried about is someone stealing your credit information and then going out and making fraudulent purchases with, your social security number or whatever they got. This is a different situation. Not only did they get these people's home addresses, but these people had some kind of a threat against them that made them get the CCW, the license to carry a firearm in public in the first place. So they had fear, and that's why they got the CCW, and now they wanted anonymity. Now they've been doxxed, they've been outed, and so they have emotional distress because they're afraid that the person that they were trying to be able to defend themselves again, person or persons, defend themselves against, may come after them. And so that's going to be different depending on whether you're a judge or a prosecutor or a defense attorney or a private citizen, whether you got your CCW because you had multiple death threats or one death threat or who the person was. So they're not going to have a common class of emotional distress plaintiffs in that class action. And also, they made a Second Amendment claim. This is not a Second Amendment lawsuit. This is a breach of privacy lawsuit. But your option, you can stay in there and basically do nothing and become a member of that class, or you can file your own lawsuit either in the Superior Court or the Small Claims Court, and that's probably going to be our recommendation. So we're going to file a test case. We've got a very high-profile prosecutor as our lead plaintiff, and we're going to see what kind of objections we get from the DOJ. I'm sure they're going to try not to turn over any information. They're going to claim some kind of investigatory privilege. We're going to have to fight that battle, but we'll fight it in one case, and then we'll put everything about that case up on the CCW reference page so that people can go out, get their own lawyer to look through this stuff and advise them about whether their particular circumstances might give rise to a good lawsuit against DOJ. But I'd love to see, whether it's in the Superior Court or the Small Claims Court, I'd love to see, all those CCW holders. There's over 200,000 of them. Let's file 200,000 lawsuits against the California Department of Justice and see how they like a taste of their own medicine.
Well, and I'm curious. Obviously, there's still a lot of anger in the community about this. I think part of that is wanting to see justice. So, filing all of these lawsuits that potentially brings financial compensation to the individuals who filed. What are the actual consequences to the state of filing, say, 200,000 lawsuits?
Well, they'll have to pay to defend them all, even if the damages that each of those individuals can claim is minimal, which is why I'm going to lay out how to do a small claims action, because you don't need a lawyer for that at all. Uh, uh, so just causing the state to have to defend all those actions, even if you can only recover, $1,500 or whatever. There are statutory damages for breach of privacy, but they're not real big because typically, when your information is made public improperly, you're worried about your credit report, you're worried about people getting access to your credit cards or whatever. And so they'll give you a credit monitoring service, which the Department of Justice has already given everyone who had their data breached.
Right.
But what's that worth? And so the statutory damages without emotional distress are minimal. You're just not collect that much. So it might be worth it to go to small claims and make the DOJ defend the case and get the $1,500. Or you can look at the case that we're going to file, because we picked someone who's under a lot more threat and went to great lengths to protect her information from becoming public. And then here she gets outed by the DOJ, and she put murderers in jail on death row. So there's some people who are not happy with her and would like to, some bad guys who would like to get her. And so she's in a position where she's more fear, and so a more emotional distress than maybe a lot of the other plaintiffs.
Well,
one thing I'll add to that: watch that CCW information page, because we're going to recommend that everyone file an administrative claim form. Usually, before you can sue the state, you have to file an administrative claim form, which is basically a form that demands the state pay you a certain amount of money for releasing your private information. And then you get back typically what's called a right to sue letter, where you've exhausted, it's called exhausting your administrative remedies, which is something that the state will argue people have to do before they can sue. And maybe the state will even offer some money just by virtue of submitting the administrative claim form. So we're going to put a template form up on CRPA's website so people can use that to submit it, because we want to get that in and not blow the statute of limitations on this thing. So you got to get that in before you can sue. So keep an eye on that web page for more information. We'll post it as it becomes available. That admin claim form should be up there next week. So people, and it'll be a fill in the blanks kind of a thing. You fill it out, send it in. We'll give you all the information you need, and that will help you protect your rights.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will go and we'll go ahead and put the link to that web page below. If you want to check it out, please do. And while I've got you here just for a second, you can also like, share, and subscribe to these videos. It really helps us get this information out there as best as we can. We're trying to bring you the most updated information. We're trying to make it helpful. So it really helps. Go ahead and hit that like, share the video, and subscribe. Like I said, it really helps.